Hello, everyone. I'm here to talk about Nightingale. Nightingale is a biotech company. So what we have developed, we have developed a blood test. So what we do, we take one blood sample, we analyze it with our technology. And the result that we get, we can use the data to predict the onset of diabetes and cardiovascular diseases. Why this is interesting? This is interesting because we can predict the onset of the disease 10 years before the actual disease happens. How do we do it? We put the blood sample inside a high-frequency magnet. What happens in the magnet, the molecules inside the blood, they start to resonate. And what we do, we record the resonance and then use our software to translate the resonance into the units that the medical doctors can use. So essentially what we do, we can predict the onset of diabetes and cardiovascular diseases 10 years before the onset. What I wanted to talk about today, I wanted to talk about why this is important. So I wanted to tell you a story because the startups, it's all about stories. This is a true story, so it's not fiction. And you know how we all know how the great stories, how they begin. So once upon a time, there was a world, which is our world, where the burden of diabetes and cardiovascular diseases was unbearable. It is unbearable. These two diseases, they cost every year for the world more than $1 trillion USD. Is $1 trillion a lot of money? Yes, it is. It's if you combine the gross domestic products of Finland, Singapore, and Sweden, you get into around $1 trillion. This is how much money we spend every year to treat diabetes and cardiovascular diseases. Why is this? Why are we spending the money? Well, the answer is actually quite simple. It's because the healthcare system, it's not actually healthcare, but it's rather sick care. So what healthcare essentially does, it's a system that waits. It's a waiting system. What they are waiting for? To get customers, that people get sick. And when people get sick, they have the ambulance here ready and waiting to treat you. But the problem is that this is very expensive. This is extremely expensive model. And furthermore, it's actually something that we cannot actually do this anymore in the future. Too many people, they have diabetes. Too many people have cardiovascular diseases. Look at China, look at India. The numbers are exploding. There will be not enough resources to treat all the sick people. Well, then in this story there is there is a silver lining. And the silver lining is that if you look at diabetes and cardiovascular diseases, 80%, 80, can be prevented. So instead of treating sick people, we can actually prevent the diseases. So in this illustration, what we are doing, we are building a fence to the cliff so people don't fall down. And when they don't fall down, this is a lot more affordable to build the fence. So why this is not happening? What is the reason? So we have to go back to the treatment. We have to go back to the current healthcare system. So how the current healthcare system is diagnosing cardiovascular diseases? By running a cholesterol test. We all know cholesterol test. But did you know that people who have suffered a heart attack, more than 70% of those individuals, they have normal cholesterol values. So the cholesterol test is not working very well. Where it is actually leading to, it is leading to the sick care. So what do we need to do? We need to understand which individuals have a risk of getting a chronic disease. So if we want to do prevention, if we want to do preventative medicine, we have to understand who has a risk of getting a chronic disease. And to understand this, it is not enough to look at a single test. We all know this. It's kind of common sense. So how heart disease and diabetes are being developed. There is a part which is inherited. There is a part that relates how you eat. There is a part that relates how you exercise. There is a part that relates how you sleep. There is a part of this and that. So it's a complex disease. How do you quantify this complex disease? By measuring just one measurement, which is basically the cholesterol test. To understand the individual differences, you have to expand the biological window to look at also different molecules that are actually more predictive for your health and disease. And this is essentially what Nightingale is doing. We take the same blood sample as is being used for the cholesterol test. But instead of getting only the cholesterol test, we get 50 times more biological information. And this biological information has been shown in the world-leading biomedical studies that we can actually predict the onset of diabetes and CVD in a completely new level. So going back to the problem is that healthcare is sick care. Everybody knows that prevention is the key. The question that remains is, how do you actually do it? How do you really do it? And to do it, you need to understand the human biology with a broader window. And this is what we do. And interestingly, the test that we do, it doesn't cost more than the cholesterol test. It's the same price. So when we talk about prevention, we need to bring technologies that can be applied in a population, in a nationwide scale. And when we do that, and we can detect the individuals who have a risk of getting a disease, then we can do something. So what we do is when we detect the risk, we are not saying to the patient that, okay, go home, eat some carrots, and here is some pills for you. You will be fine. This is how the healthcare works today. This is not the way how to do it. You can give the drugs, you can give the instruction to eat carrots, eat fish, eat whatever is healthy. But the key really is how do you know if the treatment works? Well, we do, because we are looking at the broader biological window, and we can follow up how the treatment is actually working. If you start eating healthier food, if you start doing exercise, we can actually tell how it is working for you in terms of getting a chronic disease. People also talk a lot about healthy aging and longevity, kind of the trendy words for the future. The best way to live a long life is to avoid a chronic disease, because the chronic diseases are the main cause of death. And then how you do it? Well, you first detect it. Once you have detected it with a technology that you can use, you do interventions, and then we follow up. In the end, when you look this thing with the scale of 10 years, what matters is how you improve. So what we are doing at Nightingale is that we are building a better global health. And this global health starts with technologies that you can scale worldwide. This is the future of preventative medicine. Thank you.